Obviously, you can manage the temperature inside of your place a lot easier than you can manage an outside temperature. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like when you take your dog outside. Obviously, the ideal temperature remains between 50 and 70 degrees depending on the type of dog that you have. If it's too hot outside, there are a few things that you can do. A number of my clients have used these things called cool collars, which are pretty awesome. They have ice in them, so basically, as the dog walks around, the ice melts and it keeps the dog cool. So you can find those, those are fabulous. Let's see, make sure you stick to the shade. That excess sun is definitely going to take a lot out of your dog. So you want to make sure that you're in the shady side of the street as much as possible. Beware of asphalt. Anything black obviously is going to be hotter than something that isn't. So careful when you're walking your dog across asphalt. Make sure you move as quickly as possible. Be careful of metal for the same reason. You want to make sure there's enough water available to your dog. We have, as pet sitters, carried water sometimes, or even the expandable water containers that you can fill up somewhere as you go along. Know where coffee shops are that keep water outside. Is it possible that the water will be too cold? This is something that I've heard a lot. And so this is something that we actually looked into before we filmed these videos. We had heard that icy cold water could cause bloat in a dog. And it turns out that that is 100% a myth. So it's actually not true that the water can be too cold. If it's too cold for your dog's liking, they probably just won't drink it and then you'll need to warm it up. But in terms of it being too cold and that causing a medical issue, you really don't need to worry about that. Ice cold water is not necessarily a bad thing, and ice actually can be a good thing. So if it's super hot outside, like it is here in New Orleans often, ice is a really great treat for your dog. A lot of vets use ice if they're doing medical procedures where the dog can't drink water, and they actually recommend to pet owners that ice is a great treat. You may just need to cut the walk short if it's too hot. You will know. Basically, you want to just monitor your dog, make sure that it's not getting overheated. Panting is normal. Obviously, that's how dogs do cool themselves off since they don't sweat. But not too much panting. If you find that they're getting really hot, a wet towel is not a bad idea. You don't really want to do that outside because then the water will evaporate off the skin and make them even hotter. But when you get home, if you want to just give them a wet towel on top of them. In a hot climate, the best times of day to walk your dog are in the early morning or just as the sun's going down in the evening. Be careful about walking your dog in the middle of the day. We've got a number of clients who have us come do midday walks, and those are cases where we try to shorten the time of the walk and play inside in the air conditioning more. And the other thing I want to talk about for hot climates is being careful about your dog in the car. If you're in the car and the air conditioning is on, you should be fine. But don't leave your dog in the car, even for a few minutes. It gets really, really hot in the car when the car's turned off. And even with the windows cracked, it can get really, really hot. And the last thing you want is to have to deal with your dog either being sick or, God forbid, dying as a result of high temperatures. So in the summer, for a lot of us, that means actually having to take into account that in our planning of our day. It's great to take your dog places, but make sure that you're going to be able to cool them off effectively, take them with you, and ensure that they're not sitting in the car without you.